Compass Mining, which, by the way, Will Foxley works at as the director of content, is having a hard time with a facility up in Maine. Company took it to Twitter, airing out some dirty laundry yesterday and alleging that Compass Mining had not paid its bills in full and that they would in turn be losing a Maine Bitcoin mining facility. So that's what's going on there. This is a bear market signal. We may see more of these announcements from the Bitcoin mining industry over the next weeks and months as Bitcoin mining as a proposition becomes less profitable. Cuts like this, or just beef between service providers and mining firms themselves are likely to emerge. Interesting tack here chosen by Dynamic. They're taking this public, saying that there's a suit in the works. Compass Mining does not have a statement as of this time, but we will likely hear something from them soon. I'm going to toss this straight to Wendy for her initial thoughts on this Compass Mining situation.
Happy to see you amazing people again, and big shout out to everybody watching. So let's talk about the initial part of this story. The fact that this company went out publicly and made these types of allegations, I don't like that. I don't like public callouts. I don't think it does anybody a service. And if in fact you do have to go to court later on, I just think it makes it look kind of cringe, whatever. I'm not into public callouts. But like you said, Zach, this definitely is a bear market issue. We're going to see a lot more mining farms capitulate, in my opinion. And that's why I don't think that we've actually seen the bottom of Bitcoin yet, because mining economics is important. I feel like we don't give enough credit to the actual miners because they kind of, I don't want to say they control what happens to Bitcoin, but they play a really, really big part as to what's going on with Bitcoin. So I think that we will see lower when it comes to Bitcoin's price action. Again, I said anywhere between a consolidation between 10,000 and 20,000. But it is important to note what's happening with the miners and if they're not unable to pay their bills or whatever the deal is. I do think that Compass will probably clap back and say, hey, blah, 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 or they've contacted legal because, again, public callouts are just kind of not good. And I feel like sometimes they do more harm than good.
I feel like sometimes public callouts also indicate maybe they have not been able to come to a resolution behind closed doors. And it kind of indicates for me when I see these public callouts that this is a last resort. That said, public callouts are kind of a little bit of a culture in crypto. I think we often see CEOs of exchanges on Twitter kind of, beefing it out in the public for everyone to see. Maybe it has to do with that transparency, or I don't know. But what I zeroed into on this article was that agreement. So all these people who have these miners that are being hosted by Compass, what's going to happen to them? And so the story points out some things in the agreement. It says the hosting agreement states that in an emergency, Compass may rearrange, remove, or relocate customer hardware without any liability to Compass. The terms also have customers waive their rights to seek remedies in court or be involved in any class action lawsuits. And so I'm curious, I'm not a lawyer, I'm curious though how these terms would play out in a court. If someone were to go to court, would these terms that they've agreed to actually stand up? I think a court might find that the user signing it might not have known, or they might have a right to seek legal action if the terms of that contract were not fulfilled. But Zach, I saw your hand go up.
I think Wendy's got a better take, so I'm gonna toss it her way. Saw her hand.
Well, I will say that those terms are very much important. And I don't know if I've heard stories from different people in the industry. And when you, for example, if you use an exchange and you have to sign the terms of services, there's a little box you have to click. If you click that and something happens to your funds on those exchange, and if you go try to take them to court, you're probably not going to win. Unfortunately, those are really, really hard cases to prove. So the fact that Compass Mining did have those terms in, that's unfortunate that they're there because they seem kind of like, and I feel like as a society, especially as Americans, it's like we don't read terms of services, and I feel like we need to start promoting that, which is kind of cringe because in our industry, it's all like it's supposed to be like true decentralization, whatever it is. But I feel like terms of services are really important to read, especially with stuff like this. So I think the whole thing's unfortunate. Whoever did their legal stuff was really, really smart, and I'm just not a fan of what they put into the terms of services. But thanks for calling that out, Jen.
Yeah, the broader point about terms of service, I think, is really important. I mean, especially with sort of this crypto lending crisis that we're seeing here, right? In the event of bankruptcy, depositors are kind of screwed, right? They're on the bottom of the cascading waterfall of paid out claims, right? And so if you look at sort of how bankruptcy protection works, a lot of these people who are depositors to, say, a Celsius or a BlockFi, in the event of insolvency, they're pretty low down on the totem pole in terms of whether or not they're going to be able to get their funds back. So I think it does go to, hey, read the TOS. A lot of this stuff is built on open, decentralized networks, but most people interact with these systems through these centralized intermediaries that are either exchanges or lending platforms or in this instance, Compass Mining, which kind of aggregates mining power and produces something collectively. So it is the broader point that Wendy brings up is certainly important to think about.